Al Jazeera podcasts.
Today, Iran's supreme leader is gone, but the Islamic Republic continues.
In Iran, the top national security official says there will be no negotiations with the United States.
After days of intense bombing by the US, Israel, and Iran, we explain why Iran's system is built to hold. I'm Malika Bilal, and this is The Take. Hey everyone. Wherever you're watching or listening to this, today is the day to subscribe to The Take on your podcast app. We ask because we want more people to get their daily news podcasts from Al Jazeera, and there is no better time. While you're there, leave us a review. It helps other people discover the show. Now, here's the episode.
I'm Ali Hashim, and I'm a correspondent for Al Jazeera. Also, I'm a columnist. I write articles on the region, dynamics, how things are and how things are changing and why they are changing.
Well, Ali, welcome back to The Take. I'm talking to you today because you are knee-deep, as we all are, into this joint U.S.-Israeli offensive on Iran. And that is a place that you know well. You've been a journalist in the region for years, a former bureau chief in Tehran. You have deep contacts with officials and diplomats there. And you yourself are from Lebanon, so many bona fides there. What have these past few days been like from your vantage point?
Well, the past few days were something that were anticipated. Actually, this war is something that I knew is going to happen. It's not only me that knew. Everyone knew it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's just a continuation of what started in last year in Iran. And with what's also developing in Lebanon, is just also a continuation of what happened, what was going on in Lebanon before the ceasefire. So this is just a job undone, or a job that needs to be done by the Americans and the Israelis. But the fact is that this war starts at a different time. You know, the last war in Iran, the 12-day war, there was Ayatollah Khamenei. With the beginning of this war, Ayatollah Khamenei was killed. So the fact is, the restraints that Khamenei had, and let me say, the cautiousness in the mindset of Khamenei is not present in this war. And that's why we're seeing this a total chaos. And he actually, he warned just in days that any war is going to be a regional war. And this is what we're seeing right now.
Right. Already seeing. You mentioned he was killed and on the very first day of this war. So I want to set the stage here, and that is the backdrop of his assassination. To assassinate a leader like Khamenei seems like a massive blow to the system, and it is. But the Iranian foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, also said this in an interview with Al Jazeera.
There is no victory in this war. And they have not been able to achieve their targets, and they cannot achieve their targets in the coming days.
They will not be able to achieve their targets in the coming days. Help an international audience understand why Iran thinks that's the case.
Well, wars are objectives. The war equals objectives, and whoever achieves the objectives wins, and who doesn't really get to their objectives, they lose easily. The fact is that in the beginning of the war, the attack was on Khamenei. He was killed, and there was an assumption maybe that the killing of Khamenei will mean that that's it. The whole system will collapse. I doubt the Americans were that superficial. I doubt, because it's not the case in a very multi-layered, intertwined system in Iran. Actually, the way this system was built 47 years ago, it was built in a way that even if the head is gone, it should continue to be there and it should produce another head. It's not a personalized system, it's a system itself. The priority, and this is what Khomeini said, the founder of the Republic in 1979. He said, the duty, the highest duty or the main priority is preserving Nizam, which is the system, regime, establishment. Even if that means that the system will have a priority over the life of the infallible Imam or the hidden Imam, the 12th Imam, because in Shia theology, the 12th Imam is still alive and they're all waiting for him to come back. So, and he is the head of the state. He's the real head of the state. So according even to the constitution, the supreme leader of Iran is the deputy of the Imam. So when Khomeini said that even if the Imam who is in a cult, Imam Mahdi, is killed, for the system to stay, then the system should stay. And so Khamenei's death or the killing of Khamenei won't change anything about this. Maybe, and this is what I'm saying right now, maybe the killing of Khamenei will just remove the restraints that he used to impose on the IRGC. And now we see the mad guys are in charge.
Okay, so Ali, you mentioned that you doubt the U.S. was that superficial, and I wonder if you're being too generous, because this is the conversation we're having. But the conversation that is happening here in the U.S., where I am, and that I'm seeing online, is based on a newsline from a post on X from ABC News journalist Jonathan Karl, who spoke to U.S. President Donald Trump.
But he said the attack was so successful, it knocked out most of the candidates. It's not going to be anybody that we were thinking of because they are all dead. Second or third place is dead.
No, I'm sorry. Is this real? So, this is real.
I like your reaction because I think that's the reaction everyone else is having too. Is this real? What is this timeline we're living in? Yeah, it's real.
Now, I'm actually too shocked that the United States is ruled by, in such a way. This doesn't make sense. First of all, those who were killed with Khamenei, at least the ones that we know about, most of them are military commanders, and I don't know anyone that was killed with him that was a real candidate to be his successor. I don't know of anyone, and I claim to be someone who is, kind of focusing on Iran. I've been working
you have
on this.
Connections. You have deep, extensive reporting knowledge.
This is my studies. I did my master's on Iran. I studied Iran. I've been reading Iran for the past 20 years, reading. And that's why I told you it doesn't really, is that real? Is that for real that he thought this way? I don't think so. But anyway, whoever is going to be elected or whoever is going to be chosen by the assembly of experts could be a surprise for President Trump.
Ali, I can see you're getting a phone call. Can you tell me what's happening?
Yes, actually, they're calling me from the newsroom. I need to be on set. So I'll have to leave. Sorry.
I'll be back with Ali Hashim after the break. I got back on the line with Ali after he was done on set. Thank you for coming back. That might be the first time that's happened in the middle of an interview, but we are in unprecedented times. So we're sharing with the audience what you told the world on Al Jazeera News.
What is Iran's strategy right now?
Well, it's clear that Tehran is framing the whole conflict. This was supposed to be a kind of a concise, within a frame conflict that is controlled by the US and Israel. What Iran is doing right now is that it's intertwining this conflict with all kind of other conflicts in the region. And this is not the whole story. There's another layer in the story, the economic, global economy, the power, energy security. So this is becoming a kind of a global crisis.
Can you sum up for us in a couple of sentences what you think the main takeaway is?
Well, the main takeaway is that we are dealing right now with a conflict that doesn't have any horizon. It's clear that Trump got into a conflict with certain certain ideas, presumptions. Wars can't be fought with presumptions. There's a real urge for understanding of the culture, of history, of how dynamics are on the ground. And I'm not saying that there's a lack of this, but it's clear that most of what's driving this war is wishful thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever wishful thinking is driving a war, then we will end towards, there's a book, it says more that coincidence and stupidity change the world in different ways. And I mean, if you go back in history also to wars in World War I, World War II, and many other wars, there is always a bad decision that was taken at a moment that just changed everything.
Yeah, that's all that takes is that one bad decision. So I want to touch very briefly on Lebanon, because that is where you're from. That's also a place that you cover. And if someone was watching this, they should not be surprised. It is not a coincidence, as you're saying, to reference from that. It is not a coincidence that Lebanon is now in the mix. There is a long cycle of violence between Israel and Lebanon. A deal was struck in late 2024, followed by at least 10,000 ceasefire violations on Israel's side when it comes to Israel and Hezbollah. And on Monday, Hezbollah started to launch projectiles towards Israel, which were swiftly reciprocated by Israel. What is Hezbollah's calculation here?
To me, it's predictable. I mean, I wasn't really surprised. Because at the end, Hezbollah is an organic extension of the Wilayat al-Faqih doctrine, of the doctrine that rules Islamic Iran, the Republic Islamic of Iran. And when these two lines met in the 80s, Hezbollah, who were like a group of fighters, and the Iranians, they started this path. And given the fact that this path was too much close between both sides, I couldn't see Hezbollah not getting into this conflict. At the end, this is an existential war for Hezbollah. If Iran is gone, if this Iran is gone, if the Islamic Republic of Iran is gone, then I don't see Hezbollah continuing. There's no potential for Hezbollah, this Hezbollah that we know. And actually Hezbollah's different phases we've seen over the past years. The latest one is the post-Hassan Nasrallah phase. And, the one that did the ceasefire, and after the ceasefire, there were all these the 10,000 violations by Israel, and Israelis reoccupying parts of South Lebanon. So now it seems that Hezbollah had to get back to the field. Now, I don't know how much Hezbollah is capable of really fighting, given the fact what happened in the last war. But it's clear that since they took this decision, or they agreed on this decision with the Iranians, then they can add another layer that could, provide the Iranians with more leverage, whereas they are currently turning this conflict into a more horizontal conflict, a multi-layered horizontal with a lot of strings here and there. And just like I said before on TV, it's becoming step after step. It's getting towards a global crisis.
Yeah. You said that this is an existential war for Hezbollah. Is it also an existential war for Iran?
Well, it is when the U.S. president and the Israeli prime minister say that the main, or at least they hinted on several occasions, that they are there to topple the regime or to change the regime. Or actually, Netanyahu was clear on this. President Trump was kind of mincing his words in a way or another. But also the way that these attacks are happening on a daily basis, the Israeli-American airstrikes inside Tehran. Tehran knows that they are trying to undermine the state from inside. They're hitting police stations, they're hitting internal security, so that they give the chance to President Trump has been calling on people who are opposed to the Islamic Republic to get to the streets and to get back their state. He's calling on the IRGC to defect. So he's trying to disintegrate the state. So yeah, it's very existential political.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ali, finally, with all of the analysis, I want people to understand what it takes for journalists like yourself to report this story when Iran, a place where you've covered, and Lebanon, where you're from, are both under attack again. I think the audience should know that your family home in Naqoura in South Lebanon was destroyed in Israeli airstrikes. I believe this was in 2024. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
I'm so sorry.
November 2024.
I'm sorry to even have to say those words and to make you relive that. But I wonder if you can let us in a bit into what it means to be covering all of this without end.
Well, Malika, the fact is that it's not only my family house that was destroyed in this war, in the last war. My father's house, my grandfather's house, my maternal grandfather's house. Actually, our whole village was completely destroyed.
Wow.
Only few houses were left. But anyway, sometimes you'll have to just draw a distance between yourself and your personal, ties to the story. Mm. And it's not always that you can really succeed in that. And actually, what really pressures me right now most is that there's a conflict in Iran and there's a conflict in Lebanon. I'm stuck in Doha because there are no planes, so I cannot go
to those
anywhere.
Places. Oh wow! For a correspondent like you want to be on the ground.
That's right.
Ali Hashem, thank you. Thank you so much for walking us through this, for your analysis, and for your years and years of reporting it. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Malika. Thanks to the team.